Good morning from my shack. I'll try to get to the point and try not to dilly dally, but it's been really hard for me to focus, as I'm sure it's for so many others. This war in Ukraine it's just really put the whole world into perspective. Tens of thousands of children are being killed. Uh, on our reserves, we're now finding these poor babies who were murdered, and we're finding them every day. And then there's a world pandemic, and there's fires and floods. And how do you focus on reading? And I'm going to do that for the next 2-3 minutes. So I said earlier, it was my intent to send you 3 short clips that speak to what Maria Montessori believes is essential in learning to read and becoming readers. And I believe it as well. And it's not at all consistent with so many of the things that are happening in our country today or in the United States today. And we have to start with a couple of premises. And the first one is that Maria Montessori might be right. So you can think is what you may have me, but not too many people would argue with Maria. The second premise is this one: we have to agree that reading is not a science; it's a humanity. So if we want to teach it like something, okay, all you do is tuck tuck tuck, and they will be tuck tuck tuck. It's not that way. It's not that way for a couple of reasons, and one of them will come out in the course of this video. But the other one is simply this: a person who can read but chooses not to read has absolutely no advantage on someone who can't read. So give them all the skills you want. If you don't give them the fire, the passion, and the interest of becoming readers, you've done them no favors, period. So those are 2 premises, Maria, and the heart behind and the humanity, the humane part of reading. All right. Maria said there were 3 things it takes to become readers, and this is the first. It takes time. How much time, I don't know, but those provinces that are testing children in grade 3, you're wrong to do that. Some children might be ready, some aren't ready, and it's not a race. It is not a race, it's a journey. So in testing them too early and labeling them too early, kids will always live up to what you tell them they are. So go ahead and tell them they're a non-reader. And you know what you just created? A non-reader. It's just the way it is. It's always been that way. There's no hurry, and yet we seem so bound and determined to let's get them here. And if you use this course in this program, if you go to Toys R Us and buy this toy, your child will be reading by the time they're 2. Come on, really. You see that over and over. There was a movement in the US just recently where they wanted to get to kids as early as kindergarten to teach them to read, and there's just not happening. Maria would tell you that kids will walk when they're ready, they'll talk when they're ready, and they'll read when they're ready. Reading is as simple as that. My little girl Victoria didn't walk till she was 14, 15 months. She didn't talk until, I don't know, she was almost preschool age. And I knew she'd be a slow reader. So when not a slow reader, but slow in starting to read. So when she started school, she wanted a letter from me, and it said, "Dear GNS, my daughter was a slow walker. She was a slow talker. She's going to be a slow reader, but she has 1,000 books in her room. Dad and Mom read to her every night, and she thinks she's a wonderful reader. Leave her alone. Under no circumstances do I want you to test my little girl until and things are in place. You ask me first." And she didn't write a reading test until she was in grade 6. Period. Under no circumstances do I want you to take my little girl out of class for extra reading help. Why would she? She'll think that she's not a good reader, and she believes that she's a wonderful reader. Hands off. And by the time she was in grade 6, everybody knew her as the reading girl, and she's still that reading girl. Her whole world has been about reading. Okay, that is really important. It takes time. How much time? You can determine that, but every child is different. Every child is unique, and to kind of couple us all in the same. And as a school principal, I can remember seeing a test administered to little girls, and this is the kind of thing that you'd expect to see a little girl in grade 3 given this package and say, "Would you mind reading this to me?" And she'd say, "Oh my, the complete works of William Shakespeare. He's always been my favorite author." Give it to a little boy, and he'll say, "Can I go out and play with John? He's in the playground. Can I go in the playground? Read." Oh, come on, there's no hurry. If you don't know what I mean, go and look at some grade 8 kids walking out of middle school. You'll see the girls come out. It looks like they're walking across some stage. They're just so immaculate and so reserved. And then the boys come out and they've got snot halfway down their chins, and they just mature less quickly. And sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't mature. However, it is all right. I was speaking to an audience in Scarborough, Ontario, a few years ago, and I told that exact thing to some parents. It was about 100 parents. So when it was done, I said, "Any questions or comments?" And a young mom raised her arm and said, "The school called me today to tell me that my daughter needed extra help in reading, that she was struggling as a reader." And I said, "And your point?" And she said, "She just turned 6." And I said, "Right. you want to go on? She said, she sounds like exactly like the little girl that your girl is. And I said, and she came over and she gave me a big hug and she said, I'm going to make sure she gets the time she needs. And I said, good for you. I would too. Everybody left, and there was one woman left sitting at a table. And I looked over and I said, Miss, were you waiting for me? And she said, I was. And she turned around and she said, my name is Donna Kwan. I'm the director of the largest school board in Canada. And I said, oh, Donna, everything I just said, I was just joking, right? I didn't mean any of that. And she said, no, David, I want you to tell that to my superintendents. And I said, I won't change my story. You know that. I sincerely believe what I said. She said, I want them to hear it from you. Sure enough, I had a chance to speak to all the superintendents in Toronto and say, there's no hurry. Come on, this is compulsion to. There's millions and millions of dollars being fed into programs coming right out of the Ministry of Education in the US. And I can tell you what I think of that. Millions going to people who are creating tests and who are administering tests. And these people are making fortunes on something as basic and as simple as walking, as talking, and as reading. All right, there we go. First thing it takes for a child to become a reader is time. And we as parents and as administrators and teachers, we have to protect those kids. We have to make sure that they're given the time they need. Can you do that? All right, have a good day.